In the quiet shadows of a small town where every face is familiar and every street whispers the echoes of yesterday, a truth lies buried beneath decades of silence. What happens when the familiar vanishes without a trace? When a life once known evaporates into the abyss, leaving behind only shards of mystery that haunt the very ground beneath our feet? This is the story of a teacher who disappeared in 1979, a disappearance that tore through the fabric of her community and refused to unravel. 40 years later, a hidden tunnel is uncovered, revealing chilling clues steeped in darkness, secrets, and unanswered questions. What was she doing that day? Where did she go? And what horrors might the forgotten passageway conceal? Welcome to the haunting world of silent disappear, where the past refuses to stay buried, and the truth is a ghost that never rests. Tonight, we descend into the depths of a mystery that has both tormented and captivated a town for generations. The setting is Harrowsfield, a modest town nestled in the rolling hills of rural New England. It is autumn of 1979, a time when the world was on the cusp of change, but life here maintained an old, unyielding rhythm. The community was tight-knit, mostly working-class families, anchored by the historic high school where Eleanor Hastings taught English and literature. Eleanor was more than a teacher. She was a beacon of knowledge, compassion, and unspoken promise. But one day on a chilly October afternoon, she walked out of school and vanished. No farewell, no clues, only silence. In the decades that followed, the town held its breath, haunted by the enigma of Eleanor's disappearance. And then, just as the memory was beginning to fade, a discovery beneath the earth would reignite the nightmare threatening to overturn everything they thought they knew. This is the tale of Eleanor Hastings' teacher, mentor, and missing woman. It is a story of quiet lives, shattered secrets dug deep, and a darkness that refused to stay hidden. Eleanor Hastings was a fixture in Harrowsfield High School. At 34, she carried herself with a quiet grace, tall with sharp hazel eyes that seemed to peer not just into pages of literature, but into the hearts of her students. Her colleagues respected her for her dedication, and her students adored her for the fierce passion she brought to her classroom. Each morning, Eleanor would drive her aging blue sedan from her small but cozy home on Maple Street to the school where she would spend hours grading papers, planning lessons, and running the struggling literary club. The town was a patchwork of quaint houses, a bakery that always smelled of fresh bread, and the old church with its peeling white paint, a reminder of older, firmer times. Her life, by all accounts, was quiet, but full. Weekends were spent in the local library evenings with novels stacked beside her bed. Known to keep to herself outside school, Eleanor had only a few close friends, mostly fellow teachers, and a longtime neighbor, Mrs. Agnes Dunn, an elderly widow who treated Eleanor like the daughter she never had. It was a life untouched by scandal, marked by routine and the steady hum of normalcy. Harrowsfield was remote, surrounded by dense woods and winding back roads, places where whispers sometimes turned into rumors and rumors into fear. The community felt safe. Between halcyon days and quiet nights, nothing out of the ordinary disturbed their peace. Until October 5th, 1979, when that peace was shattered. On that chilly autumn afternoon, Eleanor left school with her usual measured steps. The wind rustled the copper-colored leaves as she walked toward her car. No one saw anything unusual. But when she arrived home, she never did. Her house was found unlocked the next morning. Papers scattered across the kitchen table, her coat hanging motionless on a chair. Her beloved cat Salem meowed at the doorstep, hungry and alone. Friends and family awoke to the terrifying realization Eleanor Hastings was missing. Harrowsfield held its breath as frantic searches began. Her car was still parked in the school lot, no signs of forced entry, no ransom demands, no note. Odd was the look in the teacher's empty, half-full coffee mug left on the counter and the open book she had been reading. It was as if she simply stepped into the shadows, swallowed by the cold embrace of the night. Her last known movements were traced back to the afternoon at the local gas station, where a cashier remembered her briefly speaking to a stranger, a man in a dark coat shrouded in mystery. But beyond that, nothing else was found. The days stretched into weeks, shrouded in suspicion and crippling fear. Harrowsfield's outward tranquility was now cracked by dread and speculation. Why would Eleanor vanish? What had she stumbled upon? And were the woods, so often benign, now hiding something sinister? The search that followed was exhaustive. Police combed through the surrounding woods with lanterns and trained dogs. Volunteers organized neighborhood patrols, plastered missing posters on every telephone pole, every store window. The community was desperate. They spoke in hushed tones about Eleanor's gentle nature, wondering how someone like her could disappear without a trace. Initial leads proved fruitless. The mysterious man at the gas station was never identified, and rumors of sightings simply faded into ghost stories told around kitchen tables. The police faced dead ends, mounting frustration, and dwindling evidence. The media briefly caught wind of the case splashing headlines across local papers, then moved on, leaving the town to its silence. Years passed, decades even. Eleanor became a ghost in their collective memory, a question mark etched in the cold stones of the town's history. But beneath the surface forces moved unseen questions that wouldn't stay, buried secrets that demanded to be unearthed. Over time, speculation bloomed like dark flowers. Some whispered that Eleanor had fled, escaping a hidden torment. Others feared something far more sinister, that someone in Harrowsfield's quiet streets might be responsible. Among the suspects was Harold Simmons, the school janitor. Odd and sullen, Harold was known for his solitary ways and a rumored grudge against Eleanor, who had reprimanded him that very week for neglecting his duties. He denied everything, his alibi thin but unshaken. There was also the enigmatic stranger never found, a specter haunting accounts. From that day, a figure seen speaking briefly with Eleanor at the gas station. Some alleged he was a drifter, a man with murky connections. Conspiracy theories took root among townsfolk. Some claimed Eleanor had discovered illicit activities, a smuggling operation hidden beneath the town's surface, or uncovered corrupt dealings tied to local elites. Others proposed darker forces, that the woods surrounding Harrowsfield were a trap where twisted rituals were held in secret. Yet for all the whispers, the theories led nowhere, tangled in conflicting stories and broken memories. 40 years later, almost by chance, a local contractor working on an abandoned property on the outskirts of town stumbled upon a concealed entrance beneath a collapsed stone outbuilding. What emerged was a tunnel, long forgotten, cloaked in dust and darkness, winding beneath the earth, like the veins of some sleeping beast. Inside, artifacts were found: Eleanor's watch, a crumpled bundle of letters, and an old leather-bound notebook etched with cryptic phrases. The notebook hinted at Eleanor's secret investigations into something that threatened more than just her peace, a menace rooted deeply in the shadows of Harrowsfield. Forensic analysis on the discovered items revealed traces of blood, dried but unmistakably human. Suddenly, the town's past jolted alive again. The tunnel, the evidence, all suggested Eleanor had encountered evil beneath their innocent town, a darkness some wanted buried forever. The revelation upended decades of assumptions. Neighbors looked at their quiet streets through new eyes, knowing the truth was darker and far more dangerous than they had dared imagine. And as the tunnel's secrets came to light, so did a final harrowing question, one no one was prepared to answer. What truly happened to Eleanor Hastings in the depths of Harrowsfield? Eleanor Hastings walked out of the light one autumn day, only to become a shadow in the town's history. A searching soul caught in a web she never saw, a story that refused to end. 4 decades of silence shattered by the cold discovery of a hidden tunnel, an underground labyrinth that held the chilling clues of a nightmare long concealed. This vanished story reminds us of the fragility of life the darkness that can linger in the most ordinary places, and our unyielding desire to uncover the truth. In the end, the case is more than a mystery. It is a testament to the human spirit's unrelenting search for justice, for answers, for peace amidst the lingering shadows. Do vanished souls ever find rest? Or do their stories continue to echo, haunting the corners of our world, waiting for the light to finally reveal them? What lies beneath the surface of our seemingly peaceful lives? The answer may still be buried in the cold earth of Harrowsfield, waiting for someone brave enough to face the darkness, because some stories never truly end. They only vanish and then resurface, demanding to be heard.